All right. I wanted to like Landman. I really did because I work in the movie industry and my husband works in oil. And so I have to hear about oil production all the time. And so I wanted to watch this show. One, it was like torture to make him watch it. So that was kind of fun. But I have like three major fucking gripes about this show. Okay. Number one is how they portray the Mexican cartel. Okay. They do not give them enough credit. We're going to dig into that. Number two is the mom. I can't stand the mom. The mom is just portrayed as some blonde, drunken bimbo who has no wherewithal thought. Like the shit she does, I'm like, that just would never happen. Like nobody is that dumb. And three, the way they over sexualize this 17-year-old, it's so gross, I don't even want to talk about it. So let's get into the Mexican cartel. And warning, if you haven't figured it out yet, there's going to be lots of spoilers in this little rant that I'm on right now. So there's this part in the show, and this is where you need to scroll if you haven't seen it. There's a part in the show where the Mexican cartel steals the oil company a small plane because the oil company had rented their land or leased their land, right? Because they're going to get oil out of it. And they pay them a lot of money, and they keep going back and forth, like fighting over like what needs to happen on this land, you know, and the landman, who's Billy Bob Thornton, is like, you don't understand who you're messing with, and the cartel's like, you don't understand who you're messing with, and Billy Bob's like, you don't understand who you're messing with, and I'm the big bad guy because I'm backed by the oil company, and the cartel's like, well, you don't know who you're messing with. This just goes on and on and on. So they end up stealing this plane, and they don't tell the landman that they stole the plane. They just steal the plane, hoping that nobody in the whole company reports it stolen. All right, so this is red flag number one for me, okay? Because I know for a fact that I don't know for a fact, but I can imagine through all of the documentaries I've seen that if the Mexican cartel is going to steal a plane, they're going to be smart enough to call the landman and tell him, we're taking your plane, whether you like it or not, and if you report it stolen, we will fuck you up. Or steal your children. You know, they would threaten that so that the landman would be like, yeah, take the plane, have at it, right? So they don't do that. Sorry, my dog keeps moving. Then they decide that they're going to land the plane on one of the roads, okay? And they don't call the landman to be like, hey, we're landing the plane. Can you make sure to lock off each side of the road so that nobody hits the plane? I'm sorry, but they didn't call the landman. Let me just repeat that. They didn't call the landman and be like, hey, you're going to block off this road because we're landing a plane. Don't ask any questions, but we want to make sure that there's no oil tankers driving down this road because it's an oil field and that's why they lease the land, right? I mean, I think the Mexican cartel would fucking know better than not to make sure the road was blocked off. All right. I mean, all they have to do, they're in the middle of Midland, Texas. All right. Like they would just say like, oh, you know, there's a possible gas leak. So we're going to not let you through. I mean, even if a cop showed up at that point, he would be like, all right, I ain't going to fuck with that and turn around and go away. Right. But they didn't make that call. They did not protect their goods. I don't understand how Taylor Sheridan, how he didn't think that the Mexican cartel wasn't smart enough to protect their goods. It bothers me so much. So anyways, an oil tanker drives down the road. They weren't supposed to. They weren't supposed to be on this road, but they were anyway because people do shit like, you know, unexpected oil tanker driving around Midland. I mean, who would expect that, right? And they hit the plane, blow it up, and it destroys their goods. So now the Mexican cartel is after this landman for the money that they lost. Their boss wants to get paid, which I guess makes perfect sense because they lost a bunch of money. And the landman's like, you aren't going to get it from me. You know, you guys stole our plane. And they're like, oh, you know, you don't know who you're messing with. And he's like, well, we are the big bad guys and whatever. And anyway, I was just really confused at the fact that how he has a daughter who's 17, who they do overly sexualize and everything. Like in the beginning, she's working out in little underwear and everybody's like, oh my God, like your daughter's too hot, like the older guys and stuff. And it's just really fucking creepy because why wouldn't he just get his own house? Why is he still renting a house with like the other workers? There's like a lawyer and an engineer in there. Like that shit, that would never fly. Come on. But anyways, the hot daughter, all right, who, she is hot. She's beautiful. She goes to some high school party. This is after this whole fiasco of the product from the cartel getting blown up by the oil tanker hitting the plane that they stole from the Landman. And she goes to some party, right? Out in the middle of nowhere, Texas. And somehow the Mexican cartel has not kidnapped her ass yet to get their fucking money back. So there's a scene, she's on the boyfriend in the back of a truck, and the dad comes and he rips her off the boyfriend and, says, "You're not going to be with my daughter." And all I could think of was the only thing they should have shown in that scene was you should have thought Billy Bob was on his way to go rescue his daughter. And when she was ripped off, or the boyfriend was ripped off of her, it was the Mexican cartel coming to take her. All right, they're going to take her as collateral. Nothing else. Nothing else should be happening at this point other than him rescuing his daughter. All right, that's my rant for today. I'm a little pissed that they made the Mexican cartel seem to be like incompetent, not forward thinking, okay? Because the Mexican cartel has some of the smartest CEOs on this planet. All right, they're running multi-billion-dollar product, and you don't think that they would call prior to make sure that their product was going to be protected? And fucking, if I was the Mexican cartel, I would be in uproar at this moment.